Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome everyone to Satsang. Happy to see you all. So, who would like to start today? You can either turn on your mic or you can put something in the chat if you have something you'd like to say, some comment you'd like to make.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Jean.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
It's been a while that it comes to my awake mind about the dream. I'm not very strong. I never was strong about dream interpretation, but it seems that there's more action in my dreams than in my daily life. So I just wonder what you would suggest to do with dreams, dreaming state. Or not to do.
Ah, there we are.
Let go.
Yes, what not to do is probably more appropriate. But still, since you ask, in the same way that we notice the impermanence of all of the objects in the waking state, right? Everything is coming and going all the time. And our recognition is that there is something, not a thing, but there is an awareness which is unmoving, through which all of these objects are flowing. So the dream state is also an object like this. But of course, it's not very easy for us in the dream state to notice that this isn't just another object flowing through. But as we become more and more comfortable, more and more mature, if you will, in noticing that the objects in the waking state are coming and going, that there is some movement, some flow is happening. Eventually, you can also notice in the dream state, or something notices, maybe not you, but something in the dream state notices that it's coming and going. So if the dream state is not a problem for you, just let everything come and go. Some people talk about the dream state when it starts up, or if it starts up, as though it's some problem that's happening. Maybe it's because the dreams are not particularly pleasant or whatever. If this is the case, you can still turn toward the source, maybe not in the dream state, but as soon as you awaken into the waking state. Take a minute, pause there, and just notice, this was the dreaming state. This dreaming state has flowed into the awakened state, into the state of awakened awareness. So now I'm in the waking state. And in this way, you just begin to notice the same continuous flow of mind or energy or whatever you'd like to call it. The same continuous flow is happening in the dream state, it's happening in the waking state. And remain untroubled in the same way that you would.
And what they call lucid dreaming, will it be to play a bit with this kind of stuff? It's just not, no, I don't know what to think about that exactly. I didn't study very much. I have a couple of books on them, but they still gather dust, let's say, for the time being. And it appears to me that lucid dreaming will be like kind of playing the game of dreams. I don't know.
Well, if there's a valid, there might be some validity to understanding what lucid dreaming is about, but only so that it can help you to recognize in the dream state, oh, I am dreaming. So, but still for us as sadhaks, the question arises, what comes before that?
Mm-hmm.
What is here that enables me to say, this is the dream state? Maybe it's helpful to remember that what we're always doing with sadhana, with the inquiry, is moving from the state of two into the recognition of one. This is always what we're doing. We're noticing that the mind has this tendency to separate into two, and we are always calling it back, heading it toward the source, coming back into the nature of one. So that all of this is that. This and that are the same. I and thou are the same. Not really I and thou, but I, thou, this, that. So we're always moving from this recognition, which is the tendency in conditioned mind. We're always moving from this tendency to separate, coming back into unity. So in some way, I can say you're absolutely right. As soon as you start to play this game of lucid dreaming, so now there is a me that is lucid in this dream, that is watching this dream. You are now once again in this recognition of separation, of two. Then you will just have to work your way back into the recognition of one again. So my suggestion to you is really to just continue with the inquiry in the waking state and recognize awareness is present also in the dream state and in the waking state. In both states, objects are flowing through. They're impermanent. They come for a while, they stay for a while, they fall. This is both the state of dreaming and waking. Bhagavan used to say, don't treat the waking state any different than the dream state.
Mm-hmm.
The dream state, because you awaken from the dream state, you know that you are now in the waking state. In the same way, he said, when you awaken to the nature of your being, what happens is you notice that the dream state and the waking state are the same. They're both creations of the mind. One lasts a short period of time. The other seems to last a longer period of time. He said, this is the only difference. So our focus is not to go into another state of separation, but rather to keep our focus on this inquiry, which says, who am I? What is aware here?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe as soon as you awaken in the morning, if there's been some dream, the question is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
What is aware here now? See if you can notice that the nature of what is aware here now in the waking state is exactly the same as what was aware in the dream state. The content was different,
Mm-hmm.
but the awareness which makes both states knowable is the same. So notice this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Mm.
RISHIJI,
Yes.
Risha here. Just a comment on that. I seldom remember my dreams, but like this morning, I woke up remembering a dream. And what it seemed to take me a long, long time to get out of that state of dreaming. I kept being, my mind kept being pulled back into that place of that dream, and it actually felt really, really heavy. Not in a negative bad sense, of course, just a really heavy, dense feeling to feel out of that. So coming back into understanding that it is awareness that holds both of those, my waking state and my dreaming state, really is an interesting practice for me right now.
Very good. So when there is a heavy state like that, any state actually, but you mentioned heavy state that's a residual from something that's passed through awareness. The most direct way to approach that, you can say, is to recognize that the same awareness which was there in that dream is now recognizing that state as a heavy state. So the inquiry encourages us then at that moment to go, what is aware of this heaviness? If we don't, what happens is that heaviness tends to weigh and it tends to stay there. It's not a problem, right? Because it's just something that's rising in awareness. But if you want to move beyond it, then ask, what's aware of this now? Before it was aware of the dream, then it was aware of the heavy state, now it's aware of itself. So this recognition that what is aware is here now refocuses the attention toward the source. So now it's not focused on the content of the dream, it's not focused on what brought us out of the dream, and it's not focused on what is residual to the dream. Yes?
Excellent. Thank you.
We're always moving in the inquiry as long as we need to. As long as this sense of me or I arises, we keep up this inquiry. When no more me, no more I arises, no more attachment arises to anything, any phenomenon, in the waking state, the dream state, or in the world, in emotion, in mind, whatever state is there is fine. We know when we react in a small way or not at all to the phenomenon, it has a natural way of just flowing away at some point. So what we're always doing is turning that conditioned attention, which we've just developed a habit over a lifetime or lifetimes of following the phenomenon itself or the emotion itself or the dream itself, and following those phenomenon, this habit causes us to lose sight of that which I am as a foundation, which is awareness itself. And so we just keep using these simple tools to draw. We don't make a judgment of it. We don't say, we're not doing this in order to get rid of that heaviness. We're not doing it in order to get rid of an emotion. We're simply saying the emotion is not the primary. The source of being is the primary. So if our interest, as all of it is for you, if your interest is to awaken here now, to be aware here now, then you always are just gently pulling that attention back and through the question, who am I, or what is aware here now? As soon as you come back into this awareness here now, drop it. Even your practice is over at that moment. As soon as there's a recognition, this which is here is aware now. Don't even call it I. Doesn't matter. There is no I. There is no me. You've heard me say this over and over. You've heard Bhagavan say this over and over. This I, this me is fictitious. So as soon as you recognize that awareness is here now, you are free. In that moment, you are free. You are awakened. In that moment, you are here now. Whether it lasts that long or it goes on through eternity. But as long as the I, the me-ness of experience, is still rising in you, then ask, who, what is aware here now? Come to that, and now you are here. Nothing else to do. The difficult part for all of us, right, is the letting go part. But if we get very, very good, in other words, if we recondition the mind, right, we understand that when I say come to here now, I am saying use that habit of the mind to condition itself toward the phenomenon, to now consciously condition toward this question, what is aware here now? This allows you to let go of the phenomenon, which may still stay in awareness for some period of time. You're just allowing yourself through this process of self-recognition. That which is aware is here now. By doing this, whatever the phenomenon is, you free it. It will last as long as it needs to or wants to, or the conditioning has caused it to. But in that recognition, that which is aware here is here now, and in this awareness, some object is being seen. Now the object is freed, and also you are free to go to be as you are, as the self, not as the attention to the object. Remember, your freedom is always here within you. That's not the question. The question is, how do I become aware of that freedom, this inherent beingness in this moment, regardless of what the phenomenon is? Even regardless if what happened is some phenomenon has come, now it has disturbed me. There's a recognition that in the me-ness of this moment, there is a disturbance happening, right? Because we're not denying. So there can be this recognition that disturbance is here, that heaviness is here, whatever. There can be some recognition that this is here now. We free ourselves, we are free of that as soon as there's the recognition. That which is aware here now is aware of this heaviness, is aware of this conditioning. Sometimes that actually happens as a naming process, doesn't it? Sometimes awareness as a tool, it will actually name what is here now. This is heaviness, this is fear, right? That naming process will happen. But that naming process isn't necessary. If it happens, fine. The most direct path is simply to come back to the recognition that something is here. I am that which is aware of that. This is the most direct path or method that you might say in inquiry. This constant looking for what is aware. If we constantly look for what is aware, then there is this recognition, that which is aware is here now. And then what sees that, what has this recognition, that which is aware is here now, when it returns to this unity or this oneness that I spoke about, even that drops. There is not even anything or anyone who is aware. Awareness simply is. From here, there's no more practice. There's no more inquiry at this point. You are that which is aware in all circumstances, waking, dreaming, and sleeping. Notice that your waking state, your dream state, even your desire to sleep, to check out for some time in the sleep state, is passing, right? Sleep is followed by waking. Deep sleep is followed by dream sometimes. Dream is followed by waking. Waking is followed by sleep. Sleep is followed by dream state. Dream state is followed by waking. You are that which is aware in all these three states. That which can say, I slept well, or I didn't sleep well. That which can say, I dreamt, or I didn't dream. That which can say, this was a heavy feeling. That which can say, this is a light feeling. Not the feeling itself, not the state itself, not the dream, not the waking, not the deep sleep. You are that in which all of these flow. Until you see this clearly, keep asking the question, what is aware here now? Or who am I? Who is having this experience? And of course, this is what you are doing at this moment. We seem to be having an experience. But this experience we seem to be having at this moment is not as significant as what you are doing, reminding yourself to ask the question, what is aware here now? That question at this moment may seem like it's coming from this, but it is not. It is coming from the self, deep within your being, that place in which you are already free, is reminding you at this moment to look at what is aware here, now, until it becomes the habit of this body-mind, all of you, to ask that question first, because this is the gateway to the end of that question. You know, we are not promoting some new way of being or giving you some new method. What we are doing here, now, what the self is doing here, now, is reminding all of us to ask this question until this question dissolves, until there is not even a question about whether awareness is here or not, until the question, who am I, dissolves. Bhagavan used to say that the question, who am I, is like the stick that you stir a campfire or a cooking fire with. You have this big fire. In order for this big fire to burn itself down completely, you take a stick and you just keep pushing the logs, pushing the sticks into the fire over and over and over. Each time you do that, it takes a small amount of wood off of the stick that you're using to stir the fire. By the time you get to the end, the stick is the last thing to burn. It goes into the fire, and now there is no more fuel. This is the question, who am I? This is why I'm always saying to you, ask this question in the face of whatever phenomenon are there for you now. What is aware here? Who am I? This is that stick, but it is eventually consumed by the recognition that you are that which is aware, and in this there is freedom. Now everything is the supreme, and so everything just goes on as it wishes. And you live happily. Of course, there is no you, but this awareness lives happily with what is. So just keep stirring the fire. For those of you who are ready, just keep quiet. Don't even stir the fire. Let everything come and go in awareness itself. Just keep quiet. And of course, when I say just keep quiet, I mean allow your own mind to subside. The world will do what it does. You'll be required at some moments to interact with it, and at other moments you won't. But whether you're interacting in the world, whether you're in the waking state, the dream state, if you are keeping quiet, you are allowing your mind to become still. And out of that stillness, you may act, you may speak, you may not. But inside, in the freedom of your own being, you are quiet. There is a deep silence. And then whatever the body or the mind does in relation to the world is just happening on its own, like any other phenomenon. You are free.